Good morning. We're going to make it a good morning, I promise, Pam. This is Pam Stewart, the curator at, you know where we are. That's the Janny Clock, for God's sake. We're at the Loudoun Museum at the corner of Loudoun and Wirt in the county seat, Leesburg. And I hate to use the word crisis or emergency or problem, but we've got to turn the story around and somehow make a happy ending. What do you need, Pam?
Well, we need two things. We need operational funds just to keep the museum going long term, and a more immediate, equally important nature is the need for an off-site storage space that's safe for the collection, that we can have for a minimum of 3 years while we develop a program to build a permanent site. We need a place to move the collection by April so that the work that needs to be done on the building can be accomplished. The move itself is complicated and involves a number of things. We do need the help with the moving company, and we do need the space itself, and we will need some volunteers to help with those moving days. It's a big project. It's very important. Our whole mission is to take care of this collection, and one of the immediate means of doing that is to get the collection out of the building into a safe place so that the building can be taken care of. And ultimately, the space we're using for storage now will be exhibit space. So it's a win-win in that situation, because then we can expand the space for our visitors, show more objects, and have the objects safely stored off-site.
Right, and the story, as far as I understand it, there was sort of a discovery made that the building just can't accommodate what it's been trying to accommodate for the past umpteen years, and we have to move this heavy, kind of some of these ponderous items, and they're precious items, just to another site. So you're looking for what, about a 1,400 foot kind of indoor protected sort of office space? Is that how we could describe it, Pam?
One way to describe it is we need a box. We need a concrete box that's
right.
Temperature controlled, humidity controlled, safe. We don't need attractive storefront. We don't need high traffic. We don't need the same kinds of things you would if you had a retail space.
Sure, right.
We need a space that has limited access, that we can be secure in, and that the collection can be taken care of and protected from changes in temperature, dampness, critters, all of those things. We need a box, basically, with a concrete floor, preferably, and concrete walls, and a lot of our storage equipment in and of itself is very heavy.
Sure.
And then we have what we have been calling an embarrassment of riches almost. We have a collection that grew over the 42 years radically, and we have wonderful pieces. Many of them, as you said, are very heavy. They're difficult to maneuver. We don't want to have to move them more than we need to,
right.
because that's not good for the objects. But the community has been very generous, and we have things that have been donated since the 60s in this collection.
And a lot of this stuff, it's right upstairs, right?
It's here and it's upstairs, and we have things from as tiny and as light as Civil War bullets up to a pump organ and some very large wardrobes. So the need is great, and it's the result of the generosity of the community. To have all these objects here is a pleasure and a joy and a big responsibility. And so finding the right storage space is key. People have offered places that, in a spirit of generosity, that just weren't adequate.
Right.
We can't use old buildings because they represent a whole different set of problems.
It can't just be somebody's barn or something, right?
And it would be an easy solution, but it wouldn't be the right one.
Right.
So we are looking for that basic box. Again, we've had some nice response from people, some positive, and we're working toward it, but we definitely need a solution. And the funding is a big part of that. We don't have it in our budget to pay for a move and the site. So we do need people to come forward with ideas for how we can do this in the immediate future, and then we can build on that to make solutions for the long term. But the immediate concern is that we need to be able to move out the building in March so that the space is empty and ready to be worked on.
Right. Sort of a complicated arrangement. Now, the Loudoun Museum, I mean, you sort of work for everybody. You tell the story of Loudoun County, and you know, I've been involved with the ghost tours, and you do all kinds of wonderful things. Loudoun Museum, your basic story for folks that maybe, you know, they should know about you, but they don't.
Okay. Well, the Loudoun Museum started in the 1960s. In 1967, it was the product of a lot of very energetic and passionate county people They wanted
Yeah.
to create the museum. It was housed initially in the log cabin that's right outside the museum today. And at the time, it was entirely based on loans. And those loans grew and became part of the permanent collection. We grew so much that we moved into the building now that's 16 Loudoun Street.
Mhm.
Since its inception, it has been an independent 501c3, and we have been operating here on this site since then. The museum we're in now, we moved into in the 80s, and we have grown to fill every space. And again,
Yeah,
this is
and then some.
the generosity of the community and people who've given things from their family, found things for us. We have a small staff right now. We only have 2 people, but we
Yeah.
have an amazing core of volunteers, and without them, quite honestly, the doors would have closed some time ago.
Pretty good board of directors, too.
Good board of directors, people who have a deep and abiding interest in the museum, its collection. Our mission is to collect and preserve objects that tell the story of the entire county, and another part of our mission is to share that through our educational programs for adults and children. And so these 2 things we've been continuing to do,
Yeah.
again, with an amazing amount of energy from our volunteers and the support of the community, and we want to keep that going. This is
And
the
speaking
whole
of
dream.
that, what's the best way if somebody wants to help out you out there with some space for you in this emergency? How do they contact? A web page, phone number? They come
Well-
down, knock on your door.
Well, they can look on our website and see our phone numbers. The website is www.loudounmuseum.org, and they can talk to either myself or Beth Friedman. She is our Director of Administration. They can also contact our board, and our board's names are also listed on the website.
Yeah.
They can just give us a jingle
All right.
and let us hear from them. We'd love to.
All right, Loudoun Museum. Thanks. Happy holidays.